Hello everybody, I'm Brother Henry Wright, and one of the brothers that made a fantastic impression on everybody here in Monsignor Farrell was the late Brother Matthew Sable. Brother Sable was an absolute gem. He was a man very dedicated to everything he did. He was dedicated to the Christian brothers, a vocation which he loved very, very dearly, which he was very proud of. He was extremely dedicated to the school and to the children that came here and under his tutelage. He was a fantastic mathematics teacher. He had a book, and he called it his Snoopy book. It was like a notebook that he made himself. And on the cover, a picture of Snoopy with numbers all around him and plus signs, minus signs. And it was something, easy steps to calculus. And what he had done, he had put in certain steps that the children could follow when doing these impossible mathematic problems in which they could arrive at an answer quickly and correctly. He kept track of every boy that he ever had. Again, he was famous for notebooks. He had a notebook, and he kept in his notebook the names of all the kids that he had in class. He was very active in the football program. In fact, he was a great mentor to the famous Coach Barrett. In fact, he knew Coach Barrett when he was a high school student in New Rochelle. Barrett went to New Rochelle High School, where he was I believe he was the quarterback for their team, and Brother Sable was the coach of the Blessed Sacrament High School team. But they had a traditional rivalry, and it was through that he got to know Barrett. On Saturdays, Brother loved to watch the football games on TV. The college football games, and he would sit there with his famous notebook, and he was a phenomenon. The game would be progressing, and he would be sitting there, and he was able to write down the plays. You know, he knew what he was doing, and he would come up with plays. And on Tuesday morning, maybe whenever Brother Sable had a free period, he and Barrett would meet in the brothers' dining room for coffee, and out would come the notebook. And then he would start going over plays with Coach Barrett that they would practice in the afternoon. He would love to film the games. And I can still remember seeing him up on the top of the gym roof. How he ever got up there, God only knows. But he was up there on the gym roof, and he had the camera, and he had his crew with him, and he was taking the pictures. In community, he was just marvelous in community. Always very generous, very, very pleasant. Always had a very nice disposition. You could approach him about anything. One thing I believe is that he was always very interested in their welfare. He was very concerned about them. You know, he didn't doubt on them, but the kids knew that he really cared. You know, and if they needed any advice, he was always willing to, share whatever he had. But he was a tremendous influence, not only with the kids, but with the brothers also. He was very well thought of, extremely so. He was an absolute brilliant man.
My name is Lou Baldessano. I'm a graduate of the class of 1973, and I've also been a teacher here for 33 years. I'm here now to talk about one of the greatest men to walk the halls of Monsignor Farrell, and that's Connie Meibauer. Connie was a man who was one of the first lay teachers to come in the building, and when he came here, he was a math teacher. He taught a very interesting course for many years called mechanical drawing. He was also a math teacher who for years was an outstanding teacher, did an outstanding job with the young men, and was a very good role model for us as a teacher. The other part of Connie Meibauer's career at Monsignor Farrell was as the swim coach, a job that he was unbelievable at, a job that he dedicated his life to. He started our swim program, but Connie was the soul and the one driving force that kept our swim program going. He did a number of things, including actually getting a pool, or being behind the pool that used to be on Post and I think it's Clove Road, that we used to use for practice. By Connie taking this on with his friends, we were able to get a pool that our young men could go to and practice. And not only just practice as Farrell, but they actually established swimming on Staten Island. They started clubs, the Staten Island Aquatics, all of these things that built up swimming, not just for Farrell, but for Staten Island as a whole. And not only did he continue the program, but everybody who has followed him since he left are all his former swimmers, which is a credit to Connie Meibauer, because he had that much of an influence on these young men that they wanted to give back to Farrell because of Connie. Connie was such a great coach and such a success and did such a wonderful job with our swim program that this year Connie's being inducted into the CHSAA Hall of Fame. He's going to be the second Farrell coach to go in. Brother Wright went in last year. Connie's going in this year, which is a great honor. He is one of the nicest men you'll ever want to meet. But the thing that people who get to know him find out is that Connie Meibauer is just one heck of a great man. He's a loyal person. He comes to anything he can to help support Farrell. He'll be at graduation. He'll come to other events. Anywhere he can to show his loyalty to Monsignor Farrell High School, he does. And this is a great honor to be able to speak about you and to see your name being up on that wall and being honored as somebody very, very special to this building.
Hi, my name is Larry Musanti. I'm the assistant principal here at Monsignor Farrell. I've been here for 43 years. I had the pleasure of working with Sheila McCarthy for 20 of those 43 years. Sheila began her tenure here in 1985. She taught English, she taught computer science. Talk about loyalty to this place. What she accomplished in her 20 years here, you can't put a number on it, you can't quantify it. It's immeasurable. She was one of a kind. She was a mom to some of the kids. She was a teacher to some of the kids. She was a mentor to some of the new teachers who came in. Sheila knew all the tricks that the boys were going to try to pull on her. She used to say, "They can't pull the wool over these old eyes. I know everything. I've seen it all before." And she had. She would sometimes anticipate what the kids were going to do before they even did it. Sheila could never say no to anything we asked of her. "Sheila, can you pick up this class? Sheila, can you take this coverage? Sheila, we have something to do tonight. Can you be here?" She would always do it. And she'd do it for her boys, the Farrell boys. She got the best out of us and the best out of our boys. How? By leading by example. I'd be walking down the corridor and I'd hear what I think is chaos going in a class. I look and it's Sheila. And she's orchestrating the entire thing. She's doing a play by Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, but she was the maestro. She was the conductor. She was always in charge. One of the things Sheila was noted for while she was here at Farrell was running the Farrell dances. She used to watch the girls walk across the parking lot as Dad would drop them off. And if she thought they were dressed inappropriately, she'd run outside, stop them, wave the father down, and say, "You're letting your daughter come to this Farrell dance dressed like that?" I'll never forget this. One girl tries to get in, she can't get in. A month later, same girl shows up, properly dressed, perfectly coiffed, dressed demurely like she's going to work. Sheila says, "Look at this one." I said, "What's the matter, Sheila? She's fine." "You watch, she's gonna go in the bathroom and she's gonna change." I watch. The girl comes in, she pays her $5, she makes a right-hand turn, goes into the ladies' room. Sheila walks over and is waiting at the door with her arms folded, tapping her foot like she used to tap it. 5 minutes later, here comes the girl. The hair is poofed. She's got the bare midriff. She's got the little short skirt. Sheila stops her. "You get back in there and you put on what your father thinks you're wearing tonight. You get back in there." What does the girl do? Puts her head down, walks back in, and comes out properly dressed. I'm sure you all know that MDA Super Dance, it was the biggest fundraiser of all the high schools in the country. We raised over $2 million for MDA. At the end of the night, I remember the kids used to bring her up on the stage and present her with flowers and roses. And they would say nice things about her. And she was always embarrassed. She'd poo-poo them like this. The girls would cry. Not just because the dance was ending, but because the relationship that she had with them was going to be over. Because Sheila, in my opinion, for Farrell, can never be replaced.
I'm Richard Potter. I'm working here at Farrell now as the Assistant Athletic Director, and also I do some guidance work. I'm a Farrell graduate of the class of 1966. In the beginning of my sophomore year, which was 1963, we walked into Latin class and later on religion class, and we had a brand new priest in our building named Father Robert Gannon. The freshman basketball coach the year before wasn't very perceptive because he cut me. The next year, this very intelligent Reverend Robert I. Gannon came in the building, and he chose me for the JV basketball team. It was the only year he ever coached a sport here at Farrell, and it was the junior varsity basketball team. After he coached basketball, he decided he wanted to stay involved in athletics, but he didn't want to be a coach anymore. Maybe we did that to him, I don't know. When we became seniors and Father Gannon was our senior guidance counselor, actually a group of us used to sneak in the back door, and he would open a door in the morning very early, and we would come in there and do any homework we hadn't done or just talk between ourselves or among ourselves. And with him, you know that he basically told you where was a good place for you to go to college. Knowing you very well, which he did, and he kind of knew where it was a good place for you, whether it was a state university, whether it was a private school, a Catholic school. He was just very perceptive that way. And he always told every guy, you're the best. They want you. I know they do. Because you're so well-rounded. Because of Father Gannon and a number of other influences on me, I decided to become a high school teacher and a high school coach, fortunately, for many years. He was always there for all of us. My wife ended up, after raising our children for 20 years, to go back to graduate school to become a guidance counselor, because she saw what Father Gannon did, myself and my children. Outside of Mass every week, he'd always go outside, as anybody who belonged to Our Lady Queen of Peace knows. Didn't matter what the weather was, he went outside in front of outside the church, not just in the vestibule there, and he kind of held court. And I remember when he celebrated his 50th anniversary as a priest, they had a party over his house, and when I went there, every politician on Staten Island was there. Of his tremendous homilies, which I think had to do with the fact that he was a high school teacher and was used to speaking to young people, that he made sure that his homilies were addressed to the whole group that was there, everybody, but in particular the teenagers. People would come to me because they were in our SAT course, so they felt you knew everything about college. They would come and ask you questions about colleges and what it takes to be successful and have their children make a good college. So guess who I called upon? So Father Gannon would come into our office and help me to help parents. So when he passed away, and they have a Father Gannon scholarship fund, we made sure every year to this day we always contribute to that fund because of what he did for us. I carry in my wallet every day the prayer card or the Mass card that you get when you go to a funeral home, because of the fact that's how much they meant to me. But I love both of them. I love them to this day. And they made Farrell what Farrell has become and continues to be, we hope, and we try to follow in their guidance, what they taught us. We try to be like them, and I hope that they are proud of us for doing that, all the guys that went here.